Funding for Schaeferless is provided by
Squarespace, the sponsor of today's video. Hey gang, I started counting and recategorizing the votes for the Star Wars character popularity poll, and I started noticing a lot of votes for classic characters like Yarael Poof, Gary the Stormtrooper, and Emperor Palpatine, specifically from Robot Chicken. That made me nostalgic for the iconic Robot Chicken Star Wars trilogy I watched at what was probably too young of an age. Like it or not though, this dumb little saga of special Robot Chicken episodes were very formative to me growing up. And the poll inspired me to rewatch them since they were all on HBO Max, soon to be Netflix Max or Paramount Max, I guess. After rewatching a bit of the first installment and laughing my ass off, I said to myself, hey, what if I rank all these individual segments? So yep, that's why this video exists. A fun little ranking of all 128 segments, spread across Robot Chicken Star Wars episodes 1, 2, and 3. Plus the DVD exclusive segments for episode 2. I could never forget those. We're not going to be covering any of the later Star Wars sketches they did. Like there's a few based on Rise of Skywalker that are pretty amusing. But since it might be a hassle to track down every single Star Wars sketch that isn't contained within the trilogy, I'm just going to keep it trilogy only for simplicity's sake. Okay, let's build this reactor.
Disappointment in the game of life.
Incest. The joke is incest. Look, at least when they kissed an Empire, they didn't know they were brother and sister. What do you want me to say here? I'm not ranking this any higher. What reason would there be to? Bib Fortuna blow dries his tentacle hair. It's like the Chewie Fawn sketch, but even lamer somehow. So the stormtroopers are watching a horror movie and these guys are like, don't you go in there, girl. I think this one might be racist? I don't know, I just don't get it. It doesn't make me laugh and it's pretty forgettable. Lando doesn't like the name of Slave One. That's kind of it. There isn't really a punchline, it's just he doesn't like something called Slave One. Not really offensive or anything, just really disposable and boring. That I did not know. I don't know. If we don't know what Chewie said, it's not really all that funny. I completely forgot this sketch existed before doing this. There's a guy at the Genoshan Arena and he's like doing a rave. Yeah, I don't really get this one. I guess because there's so many lightsabers and lasers that the rave just kind of fits in. Sure, I guess. Yeah, this one ain't that good. Yoda goes for a ride on Luke's back and gets sick from all the flips he does. Aside from the awkwardly animated projectile vomit, there isn't a whole lot to this one. And I didn't mention the awkwardly animated projectile vomit in a positive manner either. What if there was a letter of the alphabet ship called a Q-wing and it spun a lot because it's a Q? I don't know, this one just doesn't do a lot for me. There's not really a punchline other than, he vomited, that's funny. What if Chewie was the Fonz? I didn't get this joke at all when I was 9, and I still don't really get it, but I'm sure the 60-year-olds will get a kick out of it. Luke takes off Vader's helmet, and a guy running past snaps a pic of it. I don't really get this one. Like, it's kind of a fun, goofy thing to happen, but it doesn't really make sense as the only joke in a segment. It probably would have worked better if it was just a side joke in a longer, funnier sketch. Pretty lame, honestly. So this one is a play on the fact that C-3PO can't speak Spanish because he tried once and the teacher thought he was saying C-3PO. Like C was the Spanish word for yes, so he didn't know what 3PO was saying. Yeah, I don't like this one. It's built on a pretty flimsy premise and it's just not really funny. It was nice to see Alfonso again though. What if a guy mispronounced Boba Fett's name as Bob A. Feet? That's the entire joke here. Admittedly, sometimes I do think about this one, but the fact that it randomly enters my brain at various points shouldn't cloud my objective judgment that it is not very good. Luke gets kicked in the nuts. I always found the sketches with Obi-Wan in the first special weird, because they clearly did not have an Obi-Wan voice actor, and they just wrote around that and never made him speak. Also, this one's just pretty lazy humor. He got kicked in the nuts. Funny. What if General Grievous got a job wiping land speeders? Pretty disposable, but it is nice to see Grievous in his only sketch in all of Robot Chicken Star Wars. Surely you could have written something about his coughing, like have him smoke a lot of weed or something. Put me on the Robot Chicken writing team, coach. I legit just don't know what's happening in this one. Sexy Admiral Akbar, I guess? Yeah, I got nothing. At least it's more interesting than some of the lower ranked segments. This is the only Lego segment in all of Robot Chicken Star Wars. It's fine. Chewie just puts Lando's head on backwards like he did for 3PO. I don't know. Moving on. 3PO goes through a metal detector. It's fine. I don't know. The funniest thing about this one is seeing R2 on the baggage belt. There's a homeless guy in the Tauntaun and he says, "Get your own Tauntaun." Yeah, I got nothing for this one. Baru doesn't buy fire insurance from this guy. Uh-oh. Yeah, I get the joke. It's not really making me laugh, but I get it. I don't know, kinda whatever. What if Tashi Station was really a strip club and Luke wanted to go to it because it was a strip club? Fine, I guess. This is one of the sketches my parents would always fast forward when we were watching, but like, it's only 5 seconds. At that point, just cover my eyes. That's probably easier. Leia kills a guy even though he said stun. Not a bad idea for a scene to make a joke about, but I don't really think the execution landed for me. It's just kinda whatever. Okay, not to fuel the Robot Chicken Family Guy feud, but Family Guy definitely did the joke about Lando wearing Han's clothes in the ending scene of Empire a lot funnier. I love the way Brian just looks at the camera and tells the audience to watch the actual movie to see it. This sketch is comparatively pretty forgettable. Like, it would be a lot funnier if Lando wearing Han's clothes was a commonly discussed detail about the film, but I honestly didn't even notice it until Brian pointed it out to me. Oh, that's gore. That's gore of my comfort character. Yeah, I like some of the dark humor segments, but this one where Gary beats an Ewok to death just isn't all that funny to me. Not much of a punchline either. The other Ewoks just kind of watch Gary, and that's it. Vader spins a lot in his TIE Fighter after the first Death Star battle. Kinda lame, and it gives me vertigo just watching it. What'll it be, pal? Martini! That's the whole gag. The joke is that the noise the Jawa makes sounds like martini. Not terrible, but not impressive, yada yada. The Stormtrooper on the toilet gag is the very first one in all of Robot Chicken Star Wars. That's kind of the only reason I remember it. It's a bit of a throwaway. Not terrible, but I like the far more absurd pregnant AT-AT Walker gag that Family Guy did. Boba Fett gets his own "the most interesting man in the world" commercial. It's a little haphazard and whatever, and the reference is kinda dated, but not in a super charming way. Even at the time, I got the reference, and still thought this one was a little bit mid. Qui-Gon drops his lightsaber in one of the only prequel sketches from the first Robot Chicken Star Wars special. Not to nitpick, but it's a little weird hearing normal workers on the Trade Federation ship, which famously only has battle droids on it. It's also a little awkwardly staged and lazy. Like, you're not seeing the lightsaber fall through each floor. You're just hearing all these noises as Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan cower in front of you. Some of the noises are funny, but otherwise, this one ain't that memorable. Sand people are easily startled, but they'll soon be back, and in greater numbers. So that translates to sand people being customers at this guy's cafe. Bit flimsy comedically. I can see why it was relegated to being a DVD extra. Luke assumes he's about to be mugged. This one's possibly kinda racist too, but in a way that clearly paints Luke as in the wrong. Though to be fair, it is kinda funny how they entrust Lando with rescuing Luke, even though Luke has no idea who he is. Pretty forgettable, but not terrible. What if they misspelled Han Solo's name on the medal he gets? Forgettable, but inoffensive. I do like the idea that they at least tried to put Han's name on a medal, while Luke just got participants. Anakin sounds like a little girl on the comm channel. Not all that substantial, but worth a polite chuckle. I especially like hearing the music from when you beat a level in LEGO Star Wars. What if there was a mouse inside of the mouse droid and he was really scared of Chewbacca? Kind of a throwaway idea, but I always found the way the mouse screams to be really funny at least. Lobot dances because it looks like he's wearing headphones, I guess. This one is kind of stupid, but I like the way the dance is animated and I like the remix playing, so I'll give it some points. Vader gets stuck in the helmet machine. Pretty simple but effective joke. I like the way he says, "What the?" Okay, this little Palpatine sketch must be a reference to a show I'm too young to know about. Kinda cute, but I don't like how he's emotionally tormenting the cat. That makes me sad. What if the A New Hope opening crawl was a text message? This one really brings me back to mid-2000s internet slang in a similar manner to Maya's social link in Persona 3. Not all that substantial or funny, but it definitely has its dated charm. Padme gets Anakin's ass by smacking the fruit away. Kind of amusing, but not by that much. This was just kind of a sad look at Greedo's apartment after his death. I like how overbearing his mother acts over the phone, but it doesn't really stick in my mind that much. IG-88 gets beaten to the punch by Boba in this direct extension to the Cloud City dinner sketch. Kind of a cute idea, but not the funniest thing in the world. The Figrin Dan musician dudes pitch a new jingle to Admiral Akbar. Honestly, I don't know why he dismissed it. I think it's pretty catchy, and I don't mind big mistakey. I've heard worse lyrics. This one's kind of forgettable, other than the knowledge that Akbar is now dabbling in cannibalism. Damn, rip Maurice for real. Kind of a cute, sad idea seeing the Tauntauns miss their dead friends, but I could certainly live without it. Maurice the Tauntaun gets visited by his own Force Ghost, who then backs off because Maurice is dead. Cute idea, not super memorable though. I like how that's clearly Seth Green doing his barely disguised Chris Griffin voice. This R2 unit has a bad motivator, which causes him to not be motivated to do anything. That's such a stupid pun, but it's kinda cute, I don't know. I dig this one sorta. Admiral Akbar fails at this game show because he can't name the word trap. Cute enough idea, pretty harmless, but doesn't leave a huge impression on me. Ben Kenobi mind tricks himself into thinking he's an attractive man for his age. This one's a lot better than the Chewbacca and Bib Fortuna hairdressing sketches, since there's an actual joke here. Still a little forgettable, but not bad. Dengar f***ing dies. This is the saddest Robot Chicken Star Wars segment. Still decently funny, but probably his weakest outing. He just doesn't get to say a whole lot before, you know, he dies. We get to hear the internal monologues of Luke, the Emperor, and Vader. They're not that funny, aside from a few good lines here and there. How come no one says wizard anymore? The part where it looks like Vader's about to kiss the Emperor is also humorous, as is Gary coming in and then promptly exiting. Definitely has its moments, but overall not that special. Inform the Senate we must of our lessened ability to create websites. Who can't create websites now? I can still create websites. I mean, all you gotta do is use Squarespace and then presto, you got an awesome website. Does anyone realize that I'm talking? Squarespace is a wonderful online website builder that enables you to create beautiful websites for your business or personal hobby. I adore how easy they make it to showcase your expertise and engage clients with video content on your website. You can make stunning video libraries and even monetize your content by adding a paywall. Perfect for online courses, exclusive tutorials, and premium workshops. If you want to get discovered fast, that's where integrated Squarespace SEO tools come in. Every website is optimized to be indexed with meta descriptions, an auto-generated sitemap, and more, letting you pop up more often on search engines and attract way more customers. Squarespace also offers lots of built-in donation tools. You can create a professional, on-brand website that makes it easy to accept one-time or recurring contributions, and engage your supporters. Use built-in email campaigns and marketing tools to connect with your community and inspire more people to support your cause. Check out squarespace.com/ShayFrillis for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use promo code ShayFrillis to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Two Imperials realize that the Empire is over now that the Emperor is gone, even though they still have tons of ships and a huge army. A moderately amusing way to question the logic of these movies. It's not all that funny, but not half bad. My Little Tauntaun, the show that spawned a huge adult male fanbase for some reason. Decently funny idea. I like the way this girl says, "Then I'll see you in hell." So this one's a little parody of how oblivious Padme seems to be to the clear romantic signals she's been putting out to Anakin. It's a funny idea, but there isn't much of a punchline, and there's definitely better elsewhere in the specials. Orientation Day is a cute sketch. I like the idea that force choking is a load of baloney, but the mystical laser sword made of pure energy is very much real and can kill you. The way this jolly officer talks and explains what to do in a choking situation is pretty fun. Though I do feel like the sketch doesn't really have have a strong enough punchline. Private Perkins with all the disguises on is kinda fun, but it's still a bit of a shrug in the ending department. Cute idea though. Vader and the gang at Cloud City have an awkward dinner. It's a funny idea, but the execution is pretty forgettable in my opinion. I like seeing Han and Boba have beef, and everything else is fine, but not all that funny. The Ewoks get crushed to death by the debris of the Death Star 2. Man, the second special really loved killing Ewoks. This one's fine, but not as good as the Boba Fett Ewok murder segment. Han meets Chewie's family and realizes he was naked all these years. Mostly pretty standard, but the way Chewie starts going in for a hug and saying "I love you" at the end does kinda tickle my funny bone. Luke forgets that he can't call Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru to tell them he blew up the Death Star. It's another short one, but the punchline is delightfully dark and pretty funny. The AT-AT walkers get into a drag race. This one goes on a little long for my taste and it isn't super funny, but I do like plenty of bits, like the way these guys bouncing around in the back are animated, and when General Veers puts a cup on Vader's hologram. Not bad overall. Cute little sketch about how annoying the THX sound effects can be. It's fun seeing the bounty hunters hanging out at this party. God, I miss Dengar so much. In this one, Vader talks about all the shit he wants in his suit, then he does an epic dance, then he gets overwhelmed by all the shit in his new suit. A little drawn out, but pretty cute overall. I also really like how Palpatine starts to reference the regrets of Darth Plagueis before getting cut off by the commercial break. I'm ranking the two parts of this one together, where we see a prisoner on the Death Star assume the rebels are here to rescue him. And as it turns out, they're just here to save Leia and then blow up the Death Star with him in it. Pretty decent bit of dark humor. Palpatine sings about the first 65 orders. It's not that funny, but it is kind of fun. I just like seeing him so giddy talking about all the shit he did over the years. It's a commercial for Bob Goldstein, a lawyer who helps people who get their limbs cut off by Jedi. Good idea, not as funny as the other commercials, but I like the way the Wampa and Ponda Baba perfectly articulate the name Bob Goldstein amidst all their other alien languages. Cloud City will be cloudy this evening, followed by clouds. Another short throwaway gag, but this one is so stupid that it kind of wraps around to being really funny. The scrolling forecasts at the bottom of the screen are a nice touch too. Obi-Wan and Yoda sing a point of view song about how much they love screwing with Luke. It's not really the funniest thing in the world, but I do appreciate its goofiness and ambition. Not the best, but not bad for what it is. There's a couple going apartment shopping in Cloud City, or is it just this guy apartment shopping and this lady is the realtor? You know, I'm not quite sure. It's fun seeing the ways they inadvertently mess with Luke, and vice versa. Pretty decent little sketch. Boba and Weequay are set free and take over Jabba's palace. This has infinitely more artistic merit than the Book of Boba Fett. I love how casual the voice of the Sarlacc is, and it's great to hear Lapti Nek again. I honestly forgot what it sounded like because I'm so used to Uluwe chua chicka cha cha tugu tugu da da oh solid little end credits closer. Throw it back, Dad. Alright, this one may be short and simple, but it's still pretty funny. I can get behind it. Also, I swear to God, on the DVD, this sketch was extended and it cut to Mace Windu eating ice cream and saying, this is some good ice cream. To this day, I have no idea what that meant or how it was related to Boba playing catch with Jango's severed head. If you know the reason for this, please email me at idon'tgiveacrap@youstupidasshole.net. One of the lesser Seth MacFarlane Palpatine sketches, which still ranks pretty high overall because it's a Seth MacFarlane Palpatine sketch. In this one, he yells at Vader over the hologram and gets Sheila to put out an ad for bounty hunters. It's nice to get more Sheila lore and find out that she's married to Dengar. Otherwise, decently funny, but not much more. I guess that makes him Little Orphan Annie. Solid little sketch about Owen being a dick when Anakin carries his dead mom back to the homestead. It's not super funny, but it does pave the way for a funnier sketch later on. Yoda has a fun crash out after Luke decapitates the guy masquerading as Vader in the cave. This is a fun, silly idea, and Yoda's delivery definitely sells it. Boba Fett has a satisfying revenge dream where he murders the gang in all sorts of fun ways. I like when he flies straight from Tatooine to Hoth. That's so silly. Not my favorite sketch of his, but still a pretty fun one. Palpatine gets interrupted by the Death Star construction. Funny. At least the concept is. I wouldn't say this one is incredibly quotable or anything, but it's pretty decent. My favorite part is when the guy calls him Mr. Saltine. Actually, what's this guy's name again?
Ray, sorry.
Ray! Oh my god, it all makes sense now. This Ray must be the father of the other Ray, who's the granddaughter of Palpatine, which must make this guy Palpatine's son. I mean, it's a better explanation than what the movie offered. Moderately funny interpretation of the bounty hunter scene. I enjoy Dengar's annoying-ass personality that kind of rewrote whatever his actual canon personality was for me. Mostly though, this one gets its points for IG-88 bawling. That's so silly and I love it. Cute little sketch related to the garbage mashers being shut down, and that extending to Vader's garbage disposal. Decently funny idea. I like the way Vader says, "Damn it, that was fish." Funny short segment about the guy Han said, "I'll see you in hell" to, coming up with the lamest possible comeback way after the fact. I honestly like this one a lot more than I probably should. It just makes me giggle. Palpatine reacts to seeing his new face for the first time. Yeah, this is a funny idea that suits this goofy, vain iteration of Palpatine very well. It's just more good-ass, humorous Seth MacFarlane Palpatine dialogue. Nothing more to be said. Look out, world! Here comes Great Dragon! Decently funny sketch, poking fun at the fact that every Star Wars planet consists of one topographical feature. Andy Richter's delivery as Crate especially sells it. Boba Fett comes back from the dead, assholes, and murders all the Ewoks. Honestly, we're so far removed from Jar Jar hate that I kind of forgot there was ever even Ewok hate before it. Regardless, this is a pretty funny showcase for Boba's rambunctious personality in this universe. I love the purple rain and the reveal that it's all one big nerd fantasy. I've been trying to rack my brain for years on why this one guy asks for a sock. Like, I don't get the... Oh god, I just got that right now as I was typing this. Oh my god, that's awful. Pretty good sketch overall though. Luke becomes the proud owner of a new kick-ass sandcrawler now that all the Jawas are dead. Honestly, yeah, I never even thought about that. They probably could have made a lot of money selling it in the actual movie. I like seeing the shenanigans Luke and Ben get up to, and the transition to the commercial break is pretty decent too. Cute little parody of the ending scene of Return of the Jedi. I like the special edition joke and how they make fun of Lando's awkward dancing. Chewie's English voice also cracks me up. Pretty good stuff overall. Boba Fett gets a little steamy with Han. Oh my. This was the origin of his arrogant, quirky persona in the future Star Wars Robot Chicken installments. And while he definitely gets more fun as the series goes on, seeing his insatiable lust for frozen Han still cracks me up. Pretty solid stuff. Uh-oh! Look at you! You look crazy! Yeah, I've gotten a couple votes for Alfonso in the Star Wars poll. He's a true icon. It's very fun hearing his delightful rapport with Palpatine as he suggests hiring bounty hunters to find the Falcon. Yeah, it's a pretty good sketch that sets up later ones. I mean, anything with Seth MacFarlane Palpatine is just gold after all. Ponda Baba gets his own Wicked story where he gets blamed for the unsavory actions of his friend, Dr. Evazan. It's a fun little spin on the fact that we don't really know what this alien dude was saying in the original Star Wars. For all we know, he did like Luke. And how come he's the only one who gets his arm chopped off when Evazan did most of the aggression? I don't know. It's a fun premise though, and the execution is pretty good. I love the way you can hear the syllables of Ponda saying, "What's up, Evazan?" I also remember being impressed with the lore that the cantina was brand new, according to this sketch. Good stuff all around here. I would say Ponda should just get a robotic arm, but that shit's probably really expensive, and I doubt he has insurance. The Robot Chicken Star Wars intro, I guess, also counts as a sketch, and it's a fun parody of the regular Robot Chicken intro. Basically taking the same idea of a mad scientist bringing a chicken back to life as a cyborg, and translating that to the Emperor and Vader. The remix of the Star Wars theme is catchy. Yeah, I don't know, that's about it. I like it. Alright, I'm not biased against the ultra short sketches, because the one with Admiral Akbar and Mon Mothma at the calamari restaurant cracks me up. Short, sweet, and to the point. Though I don't know how Akbar has the gall to get offended when he literally sells fish sticks. What's his problem? Luke has a chance encounter with the Wampa all these years later. As a kid, I found this one pretty drawn out and boring, but nowadays, I kinda can't look away from it. It's just so captivating in its absurdity, yet also strangely compelling without ever losing its dramatic edge. Kind of. Honestly, it's a lot like the scene with Mr. Frog's dad in Smiling Friends. The humor is derived from how seriously the scene takes itself, despite how ridiculous the premise is. I also really like the look of the stop motion set when he backs the car up. I don't know. It's just such an intriguing watch for so many reasons. Han's reactor conversation is pretty enjoyable, just an increasingly absurd situation that goes all the way up to Vader, notably resulting in the first mention of his secretary Sheila. It's pretty funny how far it goes. Not the funniest, but pretty solid regardless. A follow-up to the Little Orphan Annie sketch. I love how Owen indignantly sticks to his guns, and how the stormtrooper delivers, "Light 'em up, boys!" A great payoff to the setup from the previous sketch. Palpatine rides the escalator. His frustration with the stormtroopers constantly greeting him is pretty funny, though I think the segment peaks with the fillet of fish comment he makes about all these aliens in the elevator. Either way, pretty good stuff. Luke imagining what it's like to rule the galaxy as father and son. This one's pretty cute, with my favorite part being the father-son dance contest at the end. I just love the idea that Palpatine is randomly hosting it, and the dancing is so goofy and enjoyable to watch. Good stuff. I really like this segment that pokes fun at Yoda's backwards way of talking not being ideal for a general commanding an army. The way this clone lays all that out on the table for him is pretty funny. It reminds me a lot of the realistic dialogue in Smiling Friends. Pretty good stuff overall. Zuckuss and Forlom get a little too nervous when applying to be bounty hunters on the Han Solo job. I think this one is pretty cute and decently funny. I mean, it's nice to just hear Conan and Andy Richter do their thing. Kinda surprised this one only made it to the DVD. We finally get to hear Max Rebo talk, and he's really funny. I absolutely love the way he says, "What the f*** is that thing?" And hearing Boba and Weequay go at it is really funny. I especially love, "I will pay you 10 million space dollars for a f***ing rope." Overall, this is a beautiful expression of the dedication this blue elephant man has for his gig. Rest in peace, Droopy McCool. Size Snoodles though, I still haven't forgiven her for killing my beloved Zero the Hutt. Somehow Yero Poof returned. I love the reveal of him working on the Death Star at the cafeteria. Plus hearing Palpatine giddily talk about killing all the Jedi like he's a child was funny too. Probably the weakest Yero Poof segment though, just because it has the least Yero Poof. We finally made it to the one with Crayola, my hero. Okay, so if you missed the Star Wars Red ranking, when Patrick and I were kids, we played with Legos and designated this red Imperial Guard figure as Crayola, the most powerful dark being in the galaxy. The anti-chosen one. The only person who could equal Anakin Skywalker's power in the Force. Yeah, we named him after Palpatine mockingly calling a Royal Guard Crayola in this very sketch. So that's epic. The rest of the sketch is pretty funny too. It's just Seth MacFarlane Palpatine having a bad day, losing his luggage, and dealing with a bunch of other bullshit. I really like how he ironically tempts fate and assumes that'll keep him safe. Funny stuff as usual from this character. Janitor 1, 2, and 3. The three-parter of a janitor getting fed up with all the falling dead people in this series. A funny concept, and I like how they build and build on it. It ramps up comedically with each successive entry. It's also rather funny how Mace Windu was about to call someone a motherfucker. The Robot Chicken Star Wars 3 Cold Open is a fun expression of the greater storytelling ambition of this installment, using the Who's Baba O'Reilly to jump between the lives of Palpatine, Anakin, Boba Fett, and Gary the Stormtrooper. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know he was white. He has that donkey thing where he sounds black. Probably because his voice actor is actually black, but I digress. I really like how the segment presents a backstory for Palpatine at an age we never saw him at in any of the movies. I like hearing the Clone Wars announcer on the TV. I like when Anakin asks, "Are you an elephant?" Yeah, this is just a good-ass intro. Not the all-time funniest or anything, but a really solid hook for the ongoing narrative in this one, if you can call it that. Alright, this one's pretty underrated, I think. The Geonosian Arena Hot Pod Summer Championship is a funny-ass monster truck rally commercial about the arena event in Attack of the Clones. It's got a great energy, it's a fun chance to see characters like Count Dooku and Newt Gunray who don't show up in any other sketch, and seeing the Reek drive through hoops and the Nexu land a slam dunk is seriously one of the funniest things in the whole special. I think about this one probably more than is actually healthy. Funny little sketch about how destroying Dantooine means destroying Tarkin's house. I just think it's so silly how rapidly the Death Star gets into position to shoot the laser at Dantooine before Tarkin can stop them. And I love the way the landscaper says, "Hey, a laser!" This one always cracked me up as a kid. Gary accidentally burns down the Lars homestead in a pretty funny misadventure. I love how quickly the fire spreads and things get out of control. It's just delightfully dark and silly at the same time. I guess this takes place in an alternate universe from the Little Orphan Annie joke. Is Star Wars Robot Chicken a compelling look at the multiverse? I don't know, man, but it sure is humorous. Palpatine's ultimate end in Robot Chicken Star Wars Episode 3 has a lot going for it. We get some fun callbacks to earlier sketches, one of the first known sightings of Darth Jar Jar in any visual media. Palpatine gets the Ewoks to execute a new order.
Execute Order 67!
No! Get out of my head! And it's fun to see him try and make amends for everything, only to get stripped naked and chucked into the cold vacuum of space. A pretty satisfying end to the narrative, I guess you would call it. Luke gets humbled by Leia in terms of who should be feeling more grief. I like this sketch because it's something I legitimately never would have thought about otherwise. Like, the actual movie really glosses over Leia losing her entire family and planet. Why is she comforting Luke? Carrie Fisher's delivery in this sketch is also so good. It's a really funny one. Jar Jar shows up and meets Vader. Pretty simple yet highly effective idea for a sketch. I love the Jar Jar isms here. Like, these are some nice duds, ya poopa! Where do they come up with this stuff? Vader sleeping in a bed with Star Wars sheets and a cameo from Private Perkins are also fun touches. Overall, a really good one. This one brings me back. Back in my day, Geico put out these commercials where they had a celebrity help explain how they get their customers insurance money. And Robot Chicken did a parody of that with Jar Jar. It's a funny idea, and it's always a delight hearing Ahmed Best go ham in these segments. Okay, this is one of the most endearingly stupid and creative ones yet. If you watch the actual movie, you can see that when the Ugnaughts are tossing 3PO's head around, one of them doesn't catch it. So to have the Robot Chicken guys notice that and write this entire backstory about how he was a football player who couldn't catch the last ball in the game and re-experiences that trauma when he doesn't catch 3PO's head, how do you even think of that? Yeah, this one's pretty funny, and I love the concept. Prune Face! What a cool motherfucker. Yeah, I don't even need to elaborate on this sketch. It's just Prune Face. I like when he kisses a woman and her head immediately explodes. Prune Face! Vader keeps altering the deal. Pray he doesn't alter it any further. I love the escalating absurdity of the sketch, especially when he pulls out the unicycle. And Billy D. Williams really sells Lando's increasing frustration in his delivery. This one just slays me. It's really good. I haven't seen a lot of Conan's late night work, but this is just a direct parody of his show featuring Zuckuss, voiced by Conan himself. Even without knowing the reference, which I didn't as a kid and still don't. This is just a very funny bit with this cardboard cutout of the Emperor acting goofy. Probably hits even harder if you're a fan of Conan's show, but even besides that, I mean, how can you not laugh at, "Seriously, Francis, it's time for my soap operas"? I like to think Yarrow Poof took like 13 years to get the pizza since he was last sent away at the end of Phantom Menace. This was probably just another time he got the pizza, but I like to think it took him 13 years. Yet another funny bit with him. I love his Yoda impression and the way he grabs some of the pizzas before leaving. Strong stuff from him as usual. Boba Fett goes ham, hyping himself up to Weequay over here, while hiding the fact that he went out like a punk. This is just a great showcase for this hilarious, iconic interpretation of the character. I love his Jabba the Hutt impression and the way he says 80 Jedi showed up, as if they weren't all basically extinct. He's just so gleefully absurd. I mean, there's no way Boba Fett could take out... How many Jedi was it again?
I took out about 6 to 7 of them.
What? You did this! F you, Boba Fett, for inventing 6, 7. You deserve the shitty-ass book that happened to you. Actually, no, that's too harsh. Never mind. Considering how Max Rebo wasn't a playable character in LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, this Robot Chicken sketch is how I first learned his name. God damn, he really looks like a blue elephant. It's such a dumb, funny idea for all of his songs to just be various ways of denying that he's a blue elephant. And the Joey Fatone bit just kills me. Great stuff. Vader gives Luke a bunch of fake sounding spoilers about the Star Wars saga. I really like this one. Vader's delivery on everything and Luke's reactions really crack me up. I especially love how, after the time skip, Luke is smoking a cigarette, but Vader just has a cup of tea. I don't know why, that just gets me every time. This is also the only Robot Chicken sketch to feature Mark Hamill as Luke, so bonus points for that. Alright, so there's a lot of layers to this one, and all of them are pretty funny. We have this Weequay guy making fun of Luke's salute and giving a hilarious reaction when he gets hit in the face with Luke's lightsaber. We have the only appearance of Jabba the Hutt in all of Robot Chicken Star Wars, which is kinda crazy to me. But he chokes on a t-shirt and Leia assumes she's the one who strangled him. Funny. Mainly though, this is a starring vehicle for drunk Boba Fett, who's an absolute delight. This is a fun meta way of explaining why he was so off his game in Return of the Jedi. And the shit he says is so goofy. I remember laughing so hard as a kid when he mistakes Luke for Jodie Foster. Really great stuff all around here. Even though they didn't do that many prequel sketches compared to the original trilogy, they thankfully paid homage to the silliest child murder scene in all of cinema, with an equally silly and hilarious sketch. The way the one youngling says, "Can my treat just be a hug? Are you kidding me, dude?" And the way Anakin gets so into murdering these sunflowers in creative ways. Oh my god. It's a really masterful use of dark humor that does justice to this iconic scene. The space slugs order some Chinese food. This one's so delightful in its absurdity, and I love their silly Australian accents. I also like how the first one is so mad when he misses the spaceship, but then he just gets so mellow throughout the rest of it. That's what happens to me when I'm done recording a video. Oh man, I can't get enough of Dr. Ball. What a stupid, incredible concept. I could never forget the crash out he has about Padme losing the will to live. And his delivery is so fucking funny, it makes me want to merge without looking. I wonder who voiced him. Oh yeah, that makes sense. The stock medical drama music really completes the vibe. This one's just so hilarious to me. Gary drives the Death Star in one of his funniest segments. I just love seeing how all this turbulence affects all the other characters in hilarious ways. Like how Vader goes from choking one guy to choking another guy, and Ben just straight up dies in a pit. The use of the intense blowing up the Death Star score is also an inspired touch. This one's just super funny. So, I believe this nerd dude is a recurring character in the Robot Chicken cinematic universe, and in this sketch, he gets the encounter of his dreams when he meets George Lucas and helps him escape a bunch of rabid fans. I just love how earnest this little goober is, and he has a fun rapport with George Lucas, who does a great job playing George Lucas. Watching him hold on for dear life as his legs flail around never gets old. The triumphant Star Wars music really adds to the absurdity of the situation. I love how the nerd excitedly says, "Just like in the movie!" And his exchange with his son at the end cracks me up to this day. Really great sketch all around. Okay, I really love the Bosk segment. It might be one of the most underrated in the entire trilogy. It starts off with another wonderful anecdote from the entertainingly annoying Dengar, before we transition to Bosk pulling a slick bounty hunting job. It's just so funny seeing this giant lizard man act so suave and easily subdue all of his opponents. You just got bosked. God damn. I feel like this is exactly the kind of coolness factor that made people fall in love with canon Boba Fett in Empire. Like, you better believe I went through a Bosk enjoying phase as a kid after seeing this. Sick as hell. The score goes really hard too. I really do adore everything about this segment. Empire on Ice is such a damn delight. A gaudy, corny ice show based on the first act of Empire Strikes Back. It's enjoyable the whole way through, with some of my favorite bits being how the non-speaking characters from the original film perform. I always get a kick out of, "I'm the Wampa, I'm the snowman," and especially the way the probe droid comes in and says, "You're so dumb." Maybe it's my musical enjoyment kicking in, but in general, I think this one's pretty iconic and a great way to end the original Robot Chicken Star Wars special. Ah, the origin of Gary the Stormtrooper. Let's just say, it's easy to see why he became the breakout original character of Robot Chicken Star Wars. He's a super funny character headlining a super funny concept. I love the way Vader actually cares about their father-daughter relationship, and his crash out at the end slays me. Yeah, this one's a classic for a reason. Oh, now this is what I'm talking about. Nothing says 2007 like George W. Bush humor. Apparently, this sketch was recycled from a previous episode, but that doesn't make it any less gold. The sight of him angrily lifting Bill Clinton's car into a lake, or doing battle with Abraham Lincoln when he's given a Vader-like entrance, only to suddenly take on the Obi-Wan role and get promptly killed. All as W declares, "That'll teach you, George Washington." It's just so funny. The part at the end where he tries to mind trick his aide into believing there are weapons of mass destruction is also fantastic. I don't know if this humor was considered tired and played out at the time, but with enough time having passed, it's such an endearing and undeniably hilarious time capsule. If it wasn't for the weird sex crime he commits with the Force, this one would definitely be top tier. I honestly can't believe such an iconic robot chicken character as Yarrell Poof didn't make his debut until the third installment in the trilogy. But lo and behold, here he is in all his hysterical glory. His first sketch is his best one, and one of the best in the whole series, honestly. Once again, it's a great comedic premise, poking fun at the fact that Yoda and Mace Windu are kind of the only guys who do the talking in any of these Jedi Council meetings. Hearing Yarrell's hilarious reactions to what they say in his goofy clown voice will never not crack me up. Who can't use the Force now? I can still use the Force! Comedy gold. Easily one of my favorite Robot Chicken Star Wars sketches. And also, did you know Donald Glover voices Mace Windu here? I don't know why, but that's awesome. Oh, yo mama fight! This one has lived rent-free in my brain for years now. Again, Yo Mama fights are such a 2000s concept that nonetheless have an undeniable, timeless charm. All the jokes are funny, and the delivery is so on point from Seth MacFarlane and, whoever voiced Luke. Bob Bergen. I love hearing Palpatine dejectedly explain his failed joke, and that remix of the Imperial March playing in the background just kills me. Yeah, this one's a classic. It's an antique. So damn stupid, yet undeniably enjoyable. Admiral Akbar cereal is one of the greatest creations known to mankind. I don't know how you even think of turning this giant fish guy into a cereal mascot. Actually, no, that checks out the more I think about it. The way he just barges in all of a sudden and slams the bowls to the ground cracks me up. As does the fact that they're putting imitation crab meat and brine shrimp in cereal. I love the stupid ass song playing in the background that they wrote for this, but I think my favorite part is just this shot of the kids watching him dance. How do you come up with this? This sketch went triple platinum in my household, with me and Patrick developing a much deeper obsession with Admiral Akbar than what was afforded by just the "it's a trap" meme. It's all thanks to this stupid, lovely, fake commercial that perfectly captures the essence of this stupid, lovely character. I mean, like, come on. There was nothing else that could have been number one. Palpatine's phone call is so high above everything else in Robot Chicken Star Wars. An absolutely pitch-perfect parody with gut-busting jokes and so many quotable moments. What the hell is an aluminum falcon? You must smell like feet wrapped in leathery burnt bacon. Oh, just rebuild it? Oh, real fucking original. It's difficult to overstate how much this made me laugh as a kid, and continues to make me laugh to this day. It's such a brilliant comedic idea for a sketch, and it's a perfect showcase for Seth MacFarlane's outstanding voice acting chops, landing so well that his Palpatine ended up becoming the de facto main character of the trilogy going forward. And as funny as Palpatine is here, the fact that we don't hear Vader's voice and are just meant to imagine him crying on the other end makes the entire thing even funnier. I really don't have much more to say. It's just kind of a perfect comedic sketch. Maybe my favorite piece of Star Wars parody in existence. And you better agree with me on that, or else I'm gonna tell everyone what a whiny bitch you were about Panamani or Panda Bear or whatever the hell her name is. So that was the Robot Chicken Star Wars sketch ranking. Thanks for watching. Anything to stall the Adam Sandler video, Good night, Tri-State Galaxy.